From the Owl's Nest Barbecue Research and Development Studio in Ottawa, Tennessee, it's time for the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show with Steve Ray and his vast array of guests from right here in Ottawa and from across the barbecue nation. It's time to light the grill, cook the meat, and then repeat. Now live, it's the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show with Steve Ray.
Welcome to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show, brought to you by Steve Ray's Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct, located in the heart, and I mean in the heart, of Ottawa, Tennessee, at 9043 Lee Highway. 643-1111 is the number you need to know for the best price on Michelin tires, Goodyear tires, and every tire in between. You need help, you need us, good guys. Steve Ray's Midnight Oil in Ottawa. And we're also brought to you by the complete line of Butcher Barbecue products, from rubs, injections, sauces. What else have they got? Thermopen, pipe, thermometers, instant-read thermometers. Also available at Steve Ray's Midnight Oil in Ottawa. Hey, if you're out there, you follow us on YouTube. Follow the show. Posted to YouTube. Go there and find our YouTube channel, the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. Click on it and give us a like if you don't mind, or give us a follow. You can also find us on Vimeo as well. Same deal. Vimeo, same deal. Follow the Barbecue Adventures on Facebook, on my Owl's Nest Barbecue page and my personal page. And, of course, keep up with us on Instagram. Go to Instagram. That's Ottawa Steve, and look us up and follow us. We post some pretty cool pictures. We'll be posting pictures this Friday for sure. We're going to have a big cook at the gas station. We'll be cooking some pork butts for Christmas. We'll be cooking a big brisket, a big 16.5-pound brisket I bought yesterday. We'll be doing that at the gas station on Friday. So if you want to see how a brisket is cooked or put together and then put in a smoker, by all means, come on out and we'll show you how it's done. We'll be getting with Richard Fergola here in just a few minutes. He'll be our special guest today. We're out of Cokes. What do you do at your house when you're out of something and the dad's not home and you look in the cabinet and you say, gee, Mom, we're out of Cokes. Do you and your family text the dad and say, hey, Dad, would you stop on the way home and pick up some Cokes? Or better yet, Dad, you own a gas station. You probably have a case of Cokes laying around. Yes, I do, sweetheart. Would you bring that case of Coke home? Absolutely. So we're out of Cokes. I'm drinking a Scavenger ginger ale that was in the back of my garage refrigerator. It's been back there for probably 7 or 8 months. Things flatter than a bad tire. Oh, well. Next time, maybe they'll call. Hey, the World Food Championships are moving to Dallas. Did you hear that? Big announcement this week from Mike McLeod, World Food Championships, moving from Orange Beach, Alabama to Dallas, Texas for the 2019 season. That's going to be pretty exciting. I went last year to Orange Beach, Alabama. It's nice. It's okay, but it was just okay. But I tell you, I've never been to Dallas, but I know I think that's a big move for Mike in the World Food Championships, and you can sure get there a lot easier. I can tell you that on an airplane, fly right into Dallas, and you're right there. So that'll be good. That'll be good. The date for the final table of the World Food Championships has not been set. They're looking at February now, and the reason I'm talking about this is I've got several chef friends in Chattanooga that participate in the World Food Championships, and they're interested in this. The final table should be in February. It could be moved to April if they can't find a February date. So we'll see what happens. And of course, here in Ottawa, big news: the Panda Express opened today amid no fanfare whatsoever. I did not see a VIP opening. I did not see a test opening. All of a sudden, we're looking over there, and the guys are spreading mulch and sod. And then all of a sudden, we looked across the street again. There were balloons flying, and the parking lot was full. So, I mean, it was full. So I hope the Panda Express had a lot of employees there because they got hammered this afternoon. Of course, kids are out of school today here in the Ottawa, Hamilton County area. And in case you're just wondering, Christmas is a week from yesterday. So if you have to get on your Amazon site, you had better do it pretty quickly because time is running out. Now we are going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we are going to do this, or we're going to get a hold of Richard Fergola. He's our special guest. You're going to really enjoy speaking with Richard, and he's a.
This is Richard.
Richard, how are you? This is Steve Ray on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show.
How we doing, Steve?
I'm good, Richard. So glad you could join us on this Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And Richard, I want to tell all of our friends and listeners a little bit about you. Richard is a pit master for Fergolicious BBQ. He's cooked over right at 100 contests. He is a KCBS certified master judge, CBJ. He is a retail outlet owner. He owns the Kansas City Grilling Company. He is a caterer, and he has appeared on Barbecue Pitmasters and the Food Network. Richard, how did you have time to be on the show tonight?
Well, it's with a lot of stuff happening, I enjoy talking barbecue, and anytime I get the opportunity to talk about it with people, I put it in my calendar and make it happen. So I'm just privileged to get a chance to talk barbecue with you tonight, Steve.
Now, let's start. And I know we're gonna. Richard is also running for the a chair at the Board of Directors table with the KCBS. And Richard, I know what you're thinking because I know what I'm thinking, and there's a white elephant in the room. But we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But first, I want to get to know you because we've never spoken before. I think we crossed paths at a competition once or twice. But how do you balance the act between being a caterer and a retail store owner? Because I've got a retail store, and it's not easy balancing anything with the amount of hours you have to spend there.
Right. Well, just truth be told, I don't actually own the store. We have an owner, but what they did is they brought me in, and that's why I stepped away from teaching after 21 years. And so I run the store. I run the day-to-day operations. I brought the staff in. I do everything to run the store. And it's not like just having an everyday job. I mean, it's a passion for me, and I take that place very seriously. And I kind of approach it like an owner, and kind of treat that way. And it's, juggling all of these things. It's never easy. It's one thing that my mother and father blessed me with was the ability to plan ahead and schedule and be efficient. And I always, whenever I see my mom, I'm always very thankful for her for passing that on to me. But you have to be very organized, have all your ducks in a row, and I do a lot of planning ahead. So there's things that are 6 months to a year down the road from now that I'm already planning because that helps me stay on track and keep things in order. And right now my big task is getting ready to start my 2019 schedule planning because we're going into our second year of the National Barbecue League, and we kind of just got some information released to us, so I'm able to kind of start piecing. My 2019 schedule is going to be a huge puzzle that I'm going to have to put together, and it just takes a little bit of time to sit down and figure out where's the best place for me to be, and this contest and this demo and this class and this collaboration or this catering event, and just kind of piece it all together. And with the catering, I just always share with people, getting us to cater, sometimes you got to book us 6 months to a year in advance to
I was going to ask you,
sure
is it that big of a business for you?
We do a lot, especially right now during the winter. Being a retired wrestling coach and now a retired teacher, we started a couple years ago. We started offering up discounted catering services to all of the local wrestling tournaments in the Kansas City area, just because we knew all the coaches, we know all the athletic directors, and we know schools are on tight budgets. So we go and cater all the hospitality rooms for all the wrestling tournaments, and so that's all happening right now. So that's pretty busy. And then when we get into spring, there's a lot of wedding and graduation requests and things like that. So we take them as they come, and if they fit in the calendar, we do them, and if they don't, then we have to pass. So
now, how many, like, when you cater a job, do you offer the full gamut, the barbecue, the sides, the plates, the napkins, the toothpicks, and everything, or is it sort of like I'll bring you the meat, you bring the rest?
We do whatever the client wants. So we offer up whatever. We can do full service where I'll stick around and I'll hand slice brisket myself and hand it to put it on people's plates, to just dropping off, like I'll bring it to them hot and drop it off and they eat. So it's whatever the event calls for, what type of venue they're in, what type of an event it is. I usually customize that to whatever the client wants.
Now this is going to sound like a little stretch, but do you use the same trailer that you use for competition? Do you use it for catering?
Yeah, we use it for catering and for vending. Yeah.
Okay. Now
that we have our store, though, our store is actually a legal kitchen, because we actually serve food out of the store every Thursday. Tomorrow morning I'll be up early and I smoke Smithfield baby backs every Thursday, and we sell them at a store. So now I have an alternate location that I have a full kitchen in there, so I can do a lot of catering right out of the store as well, because we've got commercial fridges and commercial freezers right there in our store. So that's kind of really helped alleviate some of the space and the time and those kind of things for me as well. So
especially when you're vending, do you find it difficult to switch from the vending to the competition needs? Like, do you have like too much stuff for vending that you got to clear out and then get ready to go to a competition? Is that a big deal for you? Because it is for me. The little bit of vending that I do, I'm always moving stuff in and out of that trailer, it seems, trying to get a good balance. And I was wondering, what secret am I missing?
Well, I mean, we don't do a ton of vending. We maybe do a couple a year. Catering, we do way more of that. One particular event that we vend is right here in our hometown in Gardner. It's a 4th of July celebration, and it's out here at Celebration Park in Gardner, and they have big bands that come in, and there's a ton of vendors, and so we've got our trailer set up right there. That's probably the biggest vending that we do, and and then we turn around, and we turn around like a day or two later and have to travel. Like I think last year we traveled to Tennessee, one year to Green Bay, so I had to turn around and get all that stuff out of the trailer. We have to put a lot more stuff in there when we vend.
Sure.
But again, it just goes back to that planning ahead and having everything ready. And so if I have to turn around and go to a comp, I've got all that set. So when I get home from vending, I get myself some sleep that night, wake up, clean everything out, reload my comp stuff in, and go. It's just, the way our trailer is set up, that's kind of how it has to be from now. If we ever upgrade into a different trailer, we can kind of keep some of those things in there. And, but again, we don't do a ton of vending.
Have you sold the wife on the idea of 2 trailers yet?
No, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get into a new trailer. So we just need to upgrade a little bit and go a little bigger. And we
need 2 trailers and a new truck.
Yeah, well, I was able to do the truck about a year and a half ago. I was able to upgrade to the 3500 diesel dually, and that was one of the best investments I ever made. So
every time I see a big rig pull into a barbecue contest, I know that there's a woman that gave the stamp of approval to that rig.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned something about like tomorrow. You said you're cooking at the store. How does that work? That's kind of a unique idea.
Yeah, when we first opened up, I had brought that idea up, and we have our classroom kitchen in the store. So we've got everything. We've got the 3-bay sink, hand washing sink, refrigerators. We got the whole prep, everything. We got everything there we need.
Yeah.
And I said, because the original idea of KC Grilling Company was it was going to be part of it was going to be Fergolicious BBQ, and the other part was going to be the store, the KC Grilling Company, and the part that was going to be Fergolicious just wasn't going to be very big, and so we just decided to make it the whole KC Grilling Company. And then as we got going, I said, there's no barbecue right in this area in the strip mall that we're in. There's a Mexican restaurant, there's a pizza place, there's a Subway, but there's no barbecue. And we said, let's pilot this. And Smithfield, being a Smithfield team, they had asked us if we wanted to actually bring their product into our store to sell. Raw pork shoulders and raw ribs for competition teams and backyarders and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let's start cooking them. And it's a way to showcase our mired mix and smokers and our seasonings and things like that. And it's kind of unique. I'm into a rhythm now because I think I'm going on week number 5 or week number 6 and of doing it. And all the ribs are prepped and ready to go. And tomorrow morning I fire it up the mired mixing, and we've got it streamlined now where you can just go to our website, KC Grilling Company, and click on Thursday ribs and pre-order your ribs, because we sell out every week. So we encourage people to pre-order so that they can ensure themselves to get themselves a slab of ribs, because oftentimes we have to turn people away.
How many will you cook tomorrow?
I think tomorrow I have 42 prepped.
Wow.
So it's not like what a restaurant volume is probably doing, but they're cooking every single day. And we're just doing it one day a week, and we're just getting started. So it's gaining traction, and 30, 40, 50 slabs every Thursday. That's a lot of people. And
okay, what's the time? What's the timeline on that? What time do you start selling them? Probably about 10:30, 11?
No, we actually make them available for pickup starting at 4:00. So
PM.
They're pre-ordered. Yep.
Okay.
PM, 4:00 PM. Yep. And so we mainly set it up for dinner time.
I see now. Okay, I see now.
We're kind of promoting it that way. Hey, let us cook your dinner on Thursday nights, and we're gonna, even though it's kind of brand new and still in its infancy stages, we're gonna kind of evolve it a little bit starting hopefully next month. And I'm gonna alternate proteins every Thursday. So one Thursday it might be baby back ribs like I'm doing now. The next Thursday it might be burnt ends. The next Thursday it might be chicken wings. And we're going to put together a calendar so everybody knows what we're cooking and selling on what day on that day, and kind of give people a little bit more variety and see and just kind of watch it grow. So
I think that's a great idea. And plus you can have people come over and they can sample all the different rubs and the sauces too when they come to pick up the food, I'd imagine, can't they?
Oh yeah. And right now the ribs that we're selling, I only season them with one rub, and it's my Fergolicious Sweet Love. And I kind of want to cook the same thing every week. I want to keep it consistent, keep them coming back to the same flavor profile. And as we get into other proteins, we'll start to kind of showcase those things a little bit more. So
Richard, you were a teacher and you were a wrestling coach for many, many years. And did it unnerve you at all to take the jump and leave all that behind and jump into the barbecue world with both feet?
Well, I've been retired from coaching for about 7 years now, 7 or 8 years, and I cater a lot of wrestling tournaments, and I'm there, and I see old friends and everything, and that was when I left coaching, I just knew that was my time, and leaving the classroom, because it's been a topic of conversation the last 2 school years, and when this opportunity came across the table, I couldn't walk away from it. It was an opportunity to have more flexibility, to to take something that's brand new and build it and be barbecue full time. And I haven't looked back since.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Do you, when you started, I'm sure barbecue started as a hobby, correct? Was it just something you did in the backyard? Okay. And then you morphed into a competition team. Then you got on television, especially in the height, and I mean the height of the barbecue crush on Barbecue Pitmasters. And everybody who was interested in barbecue in this nation saw you compete on television. And then when you decided to get into it, has barbecue, is it something that you still love, or is it something that it's becoming more of a job now?
It's everything you just said. It has become a job, but it's a job that I love to do. So like, I wake up every morning and I'm excited to go in. I'm excited to go into the store because I know I get to talk barbecue with our customers all day. I get to help guide them on this barbecue journey, on their barbecue journey, and help teach them things. So it's almost like I'm still teaching. You know, I'm teaching a different content. And but you know, it's one thing that my parents always taught. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs and own their own businesses, and you know, just life's too short. You know, I lost my dad to cancer in 2016, and you know, he owned his own muffler shop for my entire lifetime, and you know, after that happened, I just kind of started to have those thoughts. You know, I'm like, where do I want to take Fergolicious, and those kind of things. I want to grow. I think big, and I figured if I'm going to do it now, you know, I'm 46 years old. Now's the time. You know, make some things happen, and go from there. When
you get ready to go and start competing again, you brought up the National Barbecue League last year when Brad Leininger and Tim Shear and those guys announced that. I thought it was the greatest idea that has come down the pike in a long time, and I thought it was something that the competition trail needed as a shot in the arm. Explain to our listeners who may be backyard people that what the National Barbecue League offers and how it should excite the base of barbecue.
You know, I agree with everything you said. I mean, I think it's a great idea. We were very fortunate to be selected to be in the inaugural year, and we're very excited about going into year number 2.
How did you get, Richard, real quick, how did you get drafted into it?
Well, their initial format was they wanted to invite the top 10 teams in the country from that season. And so we were number 9. Now there were 3 teams in the top 10 that declined just due to they weren't going to be able to make those those travel arrangements. So they just kind of went down the list and came up with the 10 that we have right now. So you know, being number 9 in the country, that's how we got in. And
explain to our listeners what the National Barbecue League is within the competition series.
So the National Barbecue League it's kind of its own entity that where we go to already scheduled KCBS competition contest, and I'll pick one for an example, like the American Royal. Both the American Royals were a National Barbecue League event. So we compete in that event just like any other event, and not only are we competing in it against all the teams that are there, but we're also competing against each other within that contest. So if and we score our own points for the National Barbecue League, and we do that for the overall, and we do that for each category. So let's say, for example, if we're at a contest and a National Barbecue League contest, and let's say Getting Basted finishes 5th in the contest or something like that, and then the rest of us are all below him, then he basically finished 1st in the National Barbecue League for that event,
right? And
gets points scored accordingly to that, and then same way for the category. So that's how we keep all those points. And then we had to compete in 8. There were 10 contests that we could go to. We had to compete in at least 8, and they took our best 8 consecutive contest, and that's how they compiled the leaderboard. And you can go to the nationalbarbecueleague.com and see the final standings. I think we're going to be doing an award ceremony for that here in the spring. It was a great time, but the cool part about the National Barbecue League is how we're engaging like your listeners and the people that are the spectators or people that are wanting to get into competition barbecue, or your average backyard barbecue cook is at these competitions that we're at. We're doing live demos. We're filming TV episodes. There's 3 of them that you can watch on YouTube at National Barbecue League. It's all about engaging people and getting them involved. You know, when we go to a barbecue contest right now, if there's not a National Barbecue League event, there's not a whole lot of engagement with us and the public.
Bingo.
And yeah, you know, and we as Fergolicious, I mean, we try to do as much of that as we can when we're at a contest, especially if we're traveling and we're somewhere else, because we want to meet new people. We want to, you know, check it out and make new friends and do this kind of thing. So, you know, we invite people over.
Get your brand out there too.
Yeah, and get the brand out there. And now with the National Barbecue League, that's, you know, those things are occurring. And, you know, I can't really reveal any information, but I can tell you that 2019 is going to be, it's going to be so cool. It's going to be so awesome. I'm really excited. We just got the information dropped to us yesterday. So I can't wait until that gets released, because it's going to blow everybody's mind.
Now the videos that that you guys did throughout the year that y'all that y'all made available on your website and on Facebook, Richard, people pay a lot of money to watch, to go to schools that y'all offer free on those videos. And I mean, no secrets. The last one that Brad did on the barrels, I think they were beef ribs. What a fantastic video that was on how to do beef ribs. Now, we don't turn in beef ribs in contests, but I thought it was a great video.
Yeah, and we did a lot of those between the 10 of us. We did those all over the country this year. I did one when we were in Appleton, Wisconsin. You know, several of us did one in Appleton, Wisconsin. The really cool one I thought we did that was fun is the Friday Night Bites segments that we did, like here in DeSoto, Kansas. And it was on a Friday night of a contest, and it was a little head-to-head matchup between just the NBL teams.
Mm-hmm.
And we were given a Snake River Farms culotte, and we all had to cook on Gateway drums, and we were cooking against each other. And so it engaged the public. They came out and watched. They filmed it. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I mean, if you go to the National Barbecue League YouTube page, you can watch every video that was produced this year, the episodes, the demos, you know, and that's the one thing I hear all the time, because we've got our National Barbecue League banner flying in our store, and you know, people come in and I'll usually have those episodes playing on our TV in the store, and people are just like, I can't believe that these guys are just giving up this information, and there's going to be more of that in 2019.
The brisket, my favorite was Joe Pearson when he did that brisket trim. That was, I mean, the way he does his point, I can see why all his burn ends are all square now, because my partner and I were talking about that today, how we struggle in our turn-in boxes to get the burn end square and at the same size, and Joe made it look so simple. And once you see it, you go, so that's how they do it. And I tell you, and I think it makes people, the small timers like me, it makes me more excited to compete, and I think it gives me a better chance to compete against the great cooks that you and all the other National Barbecue League guys are, because y'all truly are the cream of the crop. I believe Brad Leininger won the National Barbecue League title. Am I correct this year? Or was he second?
I thought it was Iowa Smoky D's.
Okay, so Iowa Smoky D's won it, and I think Getting Basted was then second, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I'm actually pulling up the leaderboard right now.
And Getting Basted won the Team of the Year with the Kansas City Barbecue Society by 1 point over Boomerang Barbecue out of Texas. And so it not only goes to show you that the guys that are in the upper echelon of the National Barbecue League, they are also in the upper echelon of the big year-long tournament known as the Team of the Year for the KCBS.
Absolutely, yeah. Smoky Smokey D's won it, and getting shake and bake was second, and getting basted was third.
Okay, getting basted was third then. But all three, of course, all three of those guys finished in the top, probably the top 5 or top 6 in the KCBS Team of the Year race.
Absolutely.
And they do cook just fantastic. Now, what do you cook on, Richard?
I cook on a Myron Mixon G33 gravity feed smoker.
Water pan in his on those models.
Yep. All the Myron Mixon cookers have water pan technology in it.
I was going to say he has a water pan on his Weber Genesis, doesn't he?
Maybe.
I doubt it. I doubt if he's got a Weber Genesis on the compound. But
yeah,
those are he really did pioneer that water technology. And what does it bring to the table, Richard, when you're cooking?
Well, I'll tell you, I get asked questions about our Myron Mixon smoker at almost every contest I'm at, and usually it's as basic as, do you like that cooker? And I'll be like, I can't think of another cooker in the world right now that could entice me to consider cooking on something different. And the thing about competition barbecue with this cooker is, for one, it's not affected by any weather. It's fully insulated. So it doesn't matter where we're cooking, what the temperature is outside, our temperature always stays the same. And, whether it's pouring rain, whether it's snowing, whether it's below freezing, I don't have to worry about it. It's gonna do what it's supposed to do. And that's the other part about it, taking weather aside, we hook our barbecue guru up to it. And when we want to cook at 275, I set it at 275 before I go to bed. And when I wake up to put the big meats on, it's just sitting there waiting for me at 275. And that kind of consistency is what you need to have to be successful in competition barbecue. So it gives me that. The water pan, and this is what I tell people in our store, it does 3 basic big things for me. And that's one, it provides moisture to my cook. And 2, it works as a heat balance, so I don't have hot and cold spots. And 3, being a vertical cooker, you're going to have stuff dripping down, and I don't have to worry about grease fires or anything because that water is catching all of that, and just recircling it into the cooker and adding flavor and moisture. And so I don't ever have to worry about anything when I'm cooking. I put my meat on, and I know it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do.
Richard, when the backyard cook comes into the store, what are the questions that they're asking now? What do they want to know? Because this outdoor live fire thing is still growing by leaps and bounds, and people are they ask me questions all the time. What do they ask Richard Fergola, who's a world-class cook? What do they ask you when they come to the store?
We get all kinds of stuff. The biggest ones are, people just wanting to come in and knowing what kind of flavor profiles to put on ribs, or I'm getting ready to cook my first brisket. What kind of flavor should I do, or how do I do it? Or Thanksgiving, I'm getting ready to do a turkey. How do you do your turkey? And, oftentimes I kind of relate those experiences back to when I was a teacher, and I'd have a 14, 15 or 16-year-old kid come to me and be like, hey, Mr. Fergola, maybe they're a single, because I was a special education teacher. Maybe they're from a single parent home, or they're a foster student or whatever. And they're asking me my advice on how to handle, a potentially, negative situation at home. And whatever I tell them, that's going to affect them in a big way. And it's the same way in barbecue. Like, how do you cook your turkey? And I'm like, well, okay, I'm full disclosure. I'm like, this is how I do mine. And, it's kind of good. They all come back and be like, hey, I ran your profile and the family loved it. And
that's the best part when they come back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You love the feedback, but I think that's one of the coolest things that I get to experience on a daily basis is people coming in and asking those types of guidance questions and being able to walk them through that. And when they leave there, they're just like so happy and smiling and being like, oh man, I can't wait to go home and fire up my cooker and do this.
Richard, do you encourage them to try different layers of rubs? I've noticed that when I talk with people, they seem to hesitant to put on more than one rub on a piece of meat, and sometimes they can't believe that people put 3, 4, even 5 different layers of seasonings and rubs on their meat. Are they hesitant to do that where you are?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think most of my regulars, I've kind of got them trained now to kind of think that way because, if I have a customer come in that I've never talked to and they're like, well, what, like today I had an older gentleman that came in and said, I'm going to do a prime rib on my smoker. And he goes, what do you do? And so I took him over and I showed him 3 rubs that I put on, and he goes, so you put all 3 of them on there? And like he did. I think that's one of those little, that's like one of those little caveats where they're like, it's an education piece right there. And then once I explain that I'm layering flavor and like this rub is doing this for me, this rub is doing this for me, and this rub is doing this for me, whether it's savoriness or sweetness or salt, pepper, garlic or color or bark or all these things that, the average person at home doesn't ever think about or even know about when it comes to cooking barbecue. And once I explain that to them, not only are they going to have a great cook when they get home, but they just learn something about, how to cook a prime rib or what these different rubs do. Because if you walk into our store or any barbecue supply store and walk up to their wall of barbecues and rubs, you're going to be immediately overwhelmed because there's so damn many.
So many, yeah.
And people will come in and say, and we make a joke in our store that we call it the loaded question is when they come in and go, what's your favorite sauce? Well, just about every sauce on my wall in my store I love because every sauce I carry, I know every person behind it personally, whether they're a friend of ours or we cook against them or whatnot. And I know they're good. I know it's a good product. I've cooked with it and I know the pitmaster behind it. And that's probably the biggest thing I love every day is just being able to do that for people.
I love it when they come back and they thank you. And what I see is sometimes I don't know, they're scared. They're scared that they're going to ruin a piece of meat. And I was watching a video with your buddy Myron Mixon one time, and he explained to a guy, the worst thing you can do is mess up that meat and throw it away. He said that's the worst. That's the worst thing that can happen. And that's why I tell people, everybody always wants to start, at least around here, everybody wants to start with a brisket. And I say, that's like that's like learning how to drive on a 1963 Volkswagen. Make it easy on yourself. Go down, hop in a 1998 Chevy pickup, which we call a pork butt, because you can't.
There you go. That's exactly what I tell people.
You can't screw that up. And even when when you do screw it up, it still tastes wonderful.
Yep.
So start with the easy stuff first. And you know what I have found when people are starting to get into it, chicken wings, easiest thing in the world to cook, and people love them. And you can be the star. You can be the star of the show with chicken wings.
Exactly. And a lot of times it doesn't even come down to whatever the protein is you're cooking. It comes down to, do you or do you not know how to actually run your smoker? Depending on whether it's a traditional offset, is it a can, is it a pellet cooker? Because believe it or not, even pellet cookers. I have people all the time that either don't read instructions or didn't quite listen to the instructions and do something wrong to kind of mess that up, and we kind of got to walk them through it. But I only mention it that way because a lot of times in our backyard classes, when we're showing people how we're running our fire and the woods that we're using and the charcoals that we're using, all of these different things, I mean, I get to hear every day, the barbecue education piece. And I think that's why we like to teach barbecue classes, because there's a lot of people out there that just don't understand how certain things work. Different, different, like lump charcoal versus briquettes, and wood with bark on it and wood without bark on it, and wood that's been aged for a year or two versus green wood, and all those kind of things. And we show them those differences and running a clean fire, and how do you know you're running a clean fire, and how can you taste that, and all those kind of things. And if you can run your pit correctly, then every protein or whatever it is that you're cooking goes on there. It's going to be delicious when it comes off.
And the only downside with you mentioned your barbecue guru and the pellet cookers and the cabinet smokers I smoke on with the gurus on them. I think a lot of people think that barbecue is easy, that if they buy a pellet smoker and they just set it and it's like set it and forget it. And I think those are the ones that fail at barbecue, and that Traeger or Green Mountain sits out there and rusts because it's not a set it and forget it hobby, is it?
No. I mean, I think it's an always learning hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been doing this for almost 7 years now, and I'm still learning tons every time I do different things. And you're exactly right. I mean, people that get pellet cookers, does it make the process and the learning curve a little faster and a little easier? Yes, but you still have to understand, should I be cooking at 250 or should I be cooking at 300? And why am I making that choice?
Right.
Like, why am I cooking this at 350 and I need to cook this at 250? What cut of meat do I put on and cook at this temperature? What's the internal temperature that I'm trying to get to so that I hit the tenderness mark exactly right? People are always blown away when I'm teaching, a comp class, or I'm talking about wrapping, and they'll always say, well, how do you know when to wrap? What temperature do you wrap at? And I say, I don't wrap at a temperature. I wrap at color and feel. And they're like, well, how do you do that? And I said, well, I've done it thousands of times now, and I've got to that point where I know what I'm looking for, and then I'll show them, this is what I want to see before I wrap. And I know that within 4 hours or whatever my time frame is, that my color is going to be where I want it to be. So I've established this timeline, and that's just come from trial and error and doing it over and over and over and over again and being consistent with it. And, that's a thing that the average backyard is not going to have because they just don't cook enough to learn that process. So
yeah, right. I was in Lowe's the other day looking at the barbecue stuff that they were moving around the winter stuff from the fall stuff, moving stuff around. There was a guy there, had a smartphone out, and he was raising the temperature on a smoker at his house.
Hey, yeah. It was probably a Green Mountain Grill.
I said, you better get home and spritz that thing. He goes, what spritz? He goes, what spritz? I said, you're way behind the curve. Hey, Richard, let's change gears. Let's talk about that big white elephant in the room, and that's your candidacy for the board of directors chair at the Kansas City Barbecue Society. I know you probably saw the rollout yesterday of the new website, and I'm sure you heard about the controversy on that rollout about the usage terms and the acceptance of that. Are you familiar with that?
Man, I've been so busy at the store. I knew that I got the email about the web platform being rolled out, but I haven't seen it. I haven't heard any controversy or anything. What's that all about?
Well, it was there was a quite a lengthy terms of a usage statement on there that you had to agree to. There was two pages. Once you agreed to the first page on the front of it, it went to another page that was longer than the Magna Carta that you had to read, and it just talked about holding. It talked about a million things, and I don't want to get into what it talked about because it is so confusing, and it caused in a small circle of some board members and some people that want to be on the board. It started a discussion, we'll say, on Facebook. But I just wanted to know, where are you standing on why do you want to be on this board of 12 people of the KCBS?
Well, I mean, it's not like it was something that I was gunning for or waiting for or, been like, I can't wait till I have an opportunity. It's kind of been something that has kind of maturated over time, and certain people encouraging me, mm-hmm. Hey, you should run for the board, and for whatever reasons they have, a lot of people believe that's a good spot for me, and in my teaching days and in my coaching days, I was on boards. I was the president of the Kansas Wrestling Coaches Association. So I mean, I've done things like that. I think for me, it's one of my goals in life, in anything that I do, and this is just me being completely honest, because this is how I put a post on my social media a week ago or 2 weeks ago and just said, what you see is what you get. That's how I am. And I like to be creative. I like to make people smile. I like to come up with ideas that make things more efficient, make things better, engage people, get people involved. And I feel like that's what I can bring to the table on the board. And doing something in barbecue that can make an impact, that I think that's the reason why I want to do it. And I think for me, the position I'm in barbecue right now, 6 or 7 years ago, I wouldn't have known any of this stuff that's going on. I wouldn't probably even paid attention to it because I didn't understand yet. And now I'm at a point where it's kind of like just anything in this world right now. There's so much negativity, just on anything, not just barbecue, but anything. And obviously it finds its way into the barbecue world. And whether, I don't like this product or I don't like this person or this and that. And I think one of the things that I would like to bring to the table is just more positivity and working together, because the ultimate goal in barbecue is togetherness and getting everybody on the same page and one big, I do this myself, but you see a lot of people when they make social media posts, they use the hashtag barbecue family or barbecue life. And I do that. And I feel like that's what it is. And I just want to try to figure out a way that I can contribute to help bring people together all across the country, across the world, involved in Kansas City Barbecue Society.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think we all think we're a family, or maybe not a family. Family's too strong of a word, but associates and acquaintances, and it brings you closer together. Do you think the KCBS has lost its way, maybe gotten too big?
I can't give an accurate answer on that because I'm not in the office every day with all the people that are running it.
I'm not talking about employees. I'm not, you got to have people, whatever you're doing, you have to have people to work. I'm not talking about, talking about the goals of an organization. Like, does the KCBS need to be sponsoring a steak cook-off series now? Has it lost its way? I guess what I'm asking of what it was intended to do was just to kind of make the rules for the contest and promote barbecue.
If I have to give a definitive answer on that, I don't think it's lost its way. I think that times are changing and it's growing. And I think it's one of those situations where if you can get the right group of people together, they can put their heads together and come up with ideas that can take you to the next level. I'm doing the same thing with Fergolicious right now. I've come to a point in my career as an owner of Fergolicious that I know I need to make some changes in order to stay with the times and build and grow. And I think that might be where KCBS is what do we need to look at? We need to look at some changes. We need to maybe do some things differently. We need to get people engaged. We need to get people involved. We need to work together and look at the betterment of the sport of barbecue. And I think that can all happen if you get the right people together and everybody has the right frame of mind and wants to, it's all about I think the cooks, I think that's the one cool thing I really like about the National Barbecue League is that every organization, every sport, I don't want to use stars as a word, but like the NBA has certain people that are like faces of NBA, and NFL has faces of the NFL and things like that. And I think barbecue should kind of have something similar. I mean, even when I was coaching as a college coach, you have faces of college wrestling, Cale Sanderson, John Smith, all these things. And I think if we can do a better job of putting those people out there and putting their faces out there and getting people involved, it gives the younger people somebody to look up to and follow and maybe gets them more motivated to become more enthusiastic to get involved in barbecue. And it's a trickle down effect. And if we can keep building up that enthusiasm and getting more people involved, I think that's the key right there is just, we want to get more people involved. And I think right now we might be in a stage where maybe not everybody wants to be involved and maybe some people are actually walking away. And when that's not what we want. We want more people. We want people to be involved. And so I think that's where we got to find out the solution for that.
Well, do you think that the KCBS should be sponsoring a steak cook-off series.
Has that been brought up or something?
No. I mean, they do. They've started the steak cook-off series, and I think they're going to unveil it in February at the KCBS World Championship. Is that something do you think that's something they ought to do, or should they leave that to like the other organizations and then just concentrate on barbecue?
Oh, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay.
I mean, it's all grilling, it's all barbecue. I mean, that's, I mean, it's no different than in my store. I got people that come in and want to talk about grilling, and I got people that want to come in and talk about barbecue. And it's, I think that it goes back to what I just said a minute ago. If it gets more people involved in the organization, that's what we're trying to do. And it's all outdoor cooking, it's all grilling, it's all barbecue. I mean, I don't see why the KCBS has to be just about competition barbecue.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a steak cook-off, that's still competition cooking, and it's getting people involved. And the steak contest things right now are huge. I mean, we're going to try to put one together to have at our store next year just to get more people involved. No different,
Well, you better be ready, because they'll come. I did one here.
Oh, I know they will.
I did one here in our little town, and they will come and compete. They love to cook steaks, and that's why I asked. That's why I asked. I'm trying to figure out, what end of the spectrum you're on. Some people want, some of the people want to pull back and go back to the original statements, of what we want to do, and some people want to expand it. I've got no problem either way. What do you think the biggest? What's if Richard Fergola is on that table come the middle of January? What do you want to tackle first?
Well, I think for me it'll just be sitting down and seeing who I'm working with and who this table is made up of, and then depending on what my what committee am I going to be on, or what what's the word I'm looking for, what issues we have in front of us, and look at those. And for me, like you just said a minute ago, there were some people that want to go back to the old way and some people that want to grow. I'm always going to be the guy that wants to grow.
Okay.
So anything that involves getting bigger and better and growing and getting more people involved, that's where you're going to see me around. That's the part where I'm going to be. My eyes are going to perk up, and I'm going to be in full attention. Sure. Because anything that I can do there that involves getting people involved and getting bigger and better, that's you'll always see me there.
Now now as a cook, and I've only been doing this 5 years, and ever since the day I started listening to the rhetoric of cooks, judging has always been a topic of discussion. I went to one banquet one time, and that was the topic of discussion. It's one of those discussions. It seems like everybody's disappointed in it. They try things. Everybody stays disappointed in it. Is it time to say, just shut up and cook? It is what it is. If you don't like it, go home. Or do you think there is a way to improve it, if it needs improved? Yeah.
I mean, I have, as you can imagine, a barbecue supply store is a great hangout for cooks to come and not only pick up their products, but we all sit there and BS with each other all the time about stuff. And, it's a lot of that like locker room talk. And I get asked that question a lot, and that topic comes up a lot. And I'm the last person to say negative things about people or bash people or everything. I'm a master judge myself.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that I see as a cook is just that there's an inconsistency in judging. Like if I go to a double header, and we've done this, and on day one we're the grand champions, and maybe we have a perfect 180 in chicken and we win chicken, and then on day two we're cooking the exact, and when you're cooking at the level that like Getting Basted is, and Shake and Bake, and Iowa Smoky Beef, and myself, if you're doing a double header, you're more than likely you're at that level where what you cooked on Saturday is going to be the exact same thing that you're cooking on Sunday, and you're cooking the same product, the same flavor profile. your timeline is all the same. And then on day 2, you finish like 25th place, and your chicken that was a perfect score the day before is now 25th.
You're scratching your head.
That's the only thing, and I know a lot of pit masters say the same thing. That's the thing that I kind of have a hard time wrapping my head around is, and so I know, those other names that I just mentioned, they all know that they're putting the same awesome product on the table that won them a GC on day 1. And so we know the change has got to be on the table that it's hitting. And how can we look at that? How can we fix that? And I'm not saying that I have the end all answer to that. I think that's going to take some brainstorming, some creativity, and it might be that might be the best way to do it. And we all just have to put up, shut up and keep cooking. But, and I'm also on the other side of that. I'm also not saying that I expect if I win a grand championship on day 1, that I should automatically win the grand championship on day 2. But I think when you go from winning a contest on day 1 to 25th or something on day 2, something's not right there. And because you're cooking the same food because you do it every single weekend. And that's the only thing I see.
Yeah. Now, what committee would you like to serve on? What's your interest? Your biggest interest?
Marketing and promotion is kind of what I really enjoy doing. I that's what I do for Fergolicious. I do it for KC Grilling Company. And I've talked to some people that I think that's where I fit in really well is promoting KCBS, marketing KCBS, being a face for KCBS, and pitching some ideas there. I think that's probably my best fit, but like I said, we'll have to go back and see who all ends up being on the board and how we all team up together and who's got their strengths in what area and who's weak in what areas, and we exploit those.
All right. Are you cooking in February at the KCBS World Championship, which I think
I'm not one.
Which I think is another great
I'm sorry,
idea.
go.
Which I think is another fantastic idea.
Yeah. I actually just had one of my pitmaster buddies come in the store today, and he's decided he's going to cook it. And I haven't decided yet. It's actually the weekend of my little brother's birthday, and
You need to blow him off.
there might be a – what's that?
Just blow him off. You need to be cooking.
Yeah, just blow him off, yeah.
He'll have more birthdays.
I've been approached about doing a practice cook and being a mentor for that, which is, I think, on that weekend too. But, now that I've got the National Barbecue League schedule, like I said, I'm going to start piecing my schedule together, and I've just got so many other things in the fire. I don't know if I'll cook that or if my season won't start until March. I'm not sure yet. So
well, let me ask you this. Is the National Barbecue League going to make the KCBS World Championship part of their schedule?
I can't say anything about that yet.
Okay. Well, when can we say stuff about that? Because that's very interesting to me.
That's very what?
That's very interesting to me. Because
yeah,
I think it's a cool thing.
Tim Shear, Tim and Brad, they are fearless leaders, and I know they're working really, really hard to finalize a lot of new things for the National Barbecue League and putting those things together. I know it's not an easy task, and it's time consuming. Like I said, we were very fortunate to get some pretty decent information yesterday, and that'll be totally up to those guys when they finally release all that info. And I would hate to say anything before they finalize anything. So yeah, I'll leave that all up to those guys.
We'll pass the word to those guys that there's people in Ottawa, Tennessee, Chattanooga area that are very interested in the National Barbecue League, that they think it's a great idea. And I think that the KCBS World Championship is a great idea. I think when they announced it, I couldn't believe that they had never done one. I thought maybe it's something they did, it didn't work out. But I think the last count I saw were 65 cooks. I'm sure there's more than that now. But I just think it's going to be a great time, and I wish maybe this year I'll get a reserve grand or a really hopefully a grand championship, but at least a reserve where I could participate in it next year, because I think it's going to be a fantastic event. I really do. All right, now listen here. We're going to do a lightning round before I let you go. Okay? Are you ready?
Oh boy! All right.
All right. Favorite chef?
Mike Johnson.
Favorite food to make?
Spaghetti.
Favorite wrestler without a mask?
John Smith.
Favorite wrestler with a mask?
Oh boy.
Come on, you watch those guys, surely.
Sting.
Oh, there you go. Favorite food to eat?
Pizza.
Favorite smoker?
The Myron Mixon G33.
How about that? Your favorite knife?
My favorite what?
Knife. That's the stuff you
knife.
cut meat with.
Wusthof.
And the worst thing you ever had to eat, Richard Fergola?
It would have to be the stuffed trotter that I freaking cooked on Chopped.
It turned out pretty bad. Huh? Was that one of those "don't call us, we'll call you back" moments?
Oh my God, that stuffed trotter was so gross. I don't know how anybody eats that, and why anybody would want to put it on a grill.
Richard Fergola, thank you so much. We sure appreciate you for being on the show with us, and good luck in your quest to be one of the members of the Kansas City Barbecue Society Board of Directors. I think you would be a good one if you are privileged enough to garner enough votes from the membership.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Steve.
You bet, and we'll talk further down the road. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Richard Fergola, everyone. What a great young man, and what a just a fantastic cook, and such a positive influence in barbecue. We're going to let you go. We'll be back here next Wednesday night, the day after Christmas. Our guest will be Tim Malloy from the Backyard Bros from the Florida Barbecue Association. We'll be talking a little bit about some holiday food. Looking forward to the Florida Barbecue Association with Tim Malloy from Backyard Bros. And remember, folks, why we get together every Wednesday and we talk about barbecue, because nobody ever said, why don't you come over and we'll sous vide tonight? Until next Wednesday, everybody, we'll see you. We appreciate you being with us, and Merry Christmas. See you next Wednesday.
Close my eyes, everything goes black. Beginning to think of everything I lack. Trying to push all the negative back. I'm almost there, but then I get off track. I catch myself staring at the stars. I get lost cause I go too far. I refuse to tune down like the piece in my car. Every tattoo is another new scar.